How did Roger Federer not just dominate tennis, but redefine what longevity truly means in sports? For more than 2 decades, he graced the courts with an artistry that felt almost otherworldly, a perfect balance between precision and poetry in motion. This story isn't simply about victories or records. It's about enduring elegance, discipline, and a deep love for the game that kept him at the top, inspiring generations of athletes and dreamers alike. The genesis of a gentleman. Before the world called him the maestro, Roger Federer was simply a boy from Basel, Switzerland, a child with big dreams and an even bigger heart. He spent countless hours on the court, not for fame or trophies, but because tennis felt like a natural extension of who he was. The ball, the racket, the rhythm. They all spoke a language that only he seemed to understand. Even as a teenager, his potential was undeniable. Coaches saw flashes of brilliance, the effortless strokes, the calm presence, the rare ability to blend power with grace. But those early years were far from perfect. Federer was fiery, emotional, even impatient. Defeat frustrated him deeply, and his passion often boiled over into anger. Yet in hindsight, those moments of struggle were essential. They were the fire that forged his character. Every setback became a teacher. Every broken racket, every disappointing loss pushed him closer to balance and self-control. Federer began to understand that true greatness wasn't just about hitting winners. It was about mastering yourself first. The turning point came when he learned to channel that storm inside him. The once hot-headed prodigy transformed into a player defined by calmness, focus, and humility. His first major victory was more than just a milestone. It marked the birth of a new era. The boy from Basel had become a gentleman of tennis, someone who played not to destroy his opponents, but to elevate the game itself. Federer's early journey reminds us that greatness doesn't come from talent alone. It's built from patience, discipline, and the courage to grow. His transformation from a passionate young dreamer into a composed and graceful champion is proof that even the most gifted must learn to control their fire before they can truly shine. The golden era of grace. The early 2000s marked the dawn of something extraordinary, the rise of a player who seemed to belong to another realm. Roger Federer didn't just win, he redefined what winning looked like. His movement was fluid, his timing flawless, and his composure unshakable. Every swing of his racket felt like a brushstroke on a canvas, and the court became his art gallery. Between 2003 and 2009, Federer reached a level few athletes ever touch: dominance wrapped in elegance. He won titles not through brute force, but through pure intelligence and precision. Watching him play was like witnessing time slow down, every shot calculated, every step effortless, every expression serene. Even in moments of chaos, Federer remained calm, as if the storm itself bowed to his grace. He faced legends: Andy Roddick's power, Novak Djokovic's hunger, Rafael Nadal's relentless intensity. But Federer's answer was never aggression, it was mastery. His strength wasn't in overpowering his rivals, but in outlasting them, outthinking them. Doing so with humility. When others clenched their fists, Federer simply smiled, not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence. The world watched in awe as he collected Grand Slams, broke records, and made history look effortless. Yet behind that calm exterior was a man who worked harder than anyone could imagine, refining every detail, pushing his body, perfecting his mind. His success was not just born of talent, but of consistency, discipline, and respect for his opponents, his fans, and the game itself. This was the golden era, not only because of the trophies, but because of what Federer represented. He brought beauty to competition, kindness to rivalry, and class to victory. In a sport built on power and pressure, he proved that greatness could be graceful. Federer's legacy in those years wasn't defined by numbers alone. It was defined by how he made people feel. Every match was more than a contest. It was a reminder that sport can be art, that discipline can be poetry, and that humility can be stronger than pride. The rivalry that defined an era. Every legend needs a rival. Someone who pushes them to the edge, tests their limits, and forces them to evolve. For Roger Federer, that rival was Rafael Nadal. Their battles were not mere matches. They were masterpieces. A clash of contrasts, a duel between elegance and endurance, precision and power, art and relentless will. When Nadal appeared on the scene, the world expected Federer's dominance to continue untouched. But the young Spaniard came with something new, a spirit as fiery as the sun, and a hunger that refused to fade. Federer was grace, Nadal surgunsip samwasren. Federer danced, Nadal fought. And together, they created one of the greatest rivalries in sports history. Their encounters were more than competitions. They were symphonies of struggle and respect. Every rally, every exchange of looks across the net carried a story. Federer's smooth one-handed backhand met Nadal's heavy topspin forehand, like two philosophies colliding. The world was divided. Are you Federer or Nadal? But deep down, everyone knew they needed each other. Nadal challenged Federer in ways no one else could. He forced him to adapt, to dig deeper, to find strength in moments of doubt. Each loss on clay, each heartbreaking defeat in Paris, taught Federer resilience. Each victory that followed, especially on the grass of Wimbledon, proved his greatness once more. Yet what truly defined this rivalry wasn't tension. It was respect. Their friendship off the court, their mutual admiration, became a lesson for the world. In an era obsessed with competition, Federer and Nadal reminded us that true greatness thrives not in isolation, but through challenge, through humility, through the ability to honor your opponent even in defeat. Their rivalry became a mirror of life itself, beautiful, painful, relentless, and full of meaning. It wasn't about who was better. It was about how both became the best versions of themselves because of each other. Federer once said, "I have the utmost respect for Rafa. He made me a better player, and I think we made each other better." And that's the essence of it all. Growth through challenge, respect through rivalry, and legacy through love of the game. The fall and the fight. Every legend faces a storm. A moment when the applause fades, the body weakens, and time itself becomes the fiercest opponent. For Roger Federer, that storm came quietly, like dusk after a golden day. The years that had once bowed to his brilliance began to push back. Injuries crept in. His body no longer responded with the same ease. The world began to whisper, "Is this the end?" For a man who had spent his life gliding across courts like a dancer, every moment of pain was a reminder that even beauty has limits. The knee surgeries, the months away from competition, they tested more than his physical strength. They tested his purpose. But Federer's greatness was never just about winning. It was about how he faced loss. While others might have walked away, he chose to fight, not to prove the critics wrong, but to honor the love he still carried for the game. When most would have retired gracefully, he picked up his racket again and again, knowing the climb back would be steep. He trained in silence, rebuilt his body, and returned. Not as the untouchable champion of his prime, but as a warrior of the soul. His comeback in 2017 wasn't just a victory, it was a resurrection. After months of doubt and despair, Federer stepped onto the court at the Australian Open. Older, wiser, and more human than ever. And when he defeated Rafael Nadal in that unforgettable final, the world didn't just see a champion rise again. It saw hope reborn. That victory was more than a title. It was a message that passion has no age, that love outlasts pain, and that the fire within us burns brighter than time itself. Federer had nothing left to prove, yet he kept going. Because for him, tennis was never about trophies. It was about the journey, the joy, and the connection with everyone who believed in him. Even as new stars rose, Djokovic, Nadal, the next generation, Federer stood with humility, reminding the world that greatness isn't measured by how long you stay at the top, but by how gracefully you walk away when your time comes. He fought not for glory, but for gratitude. Every match became a thank you, to the sport, to his fans, to life itself. The legacy beyond the game. In the end, every athlete faces the moment when the racket falls silent and the cheers fade into memory. For Roger Federer, that farewell was not an ending. It was a celebration. When he walked off the court for the last time at the Laver Cup, hand in hand with his greatest rival and dearest friend, Rafael Nadal, the world witnessed something rare. Two legends crying not out of sadness, but out of gratitude. Federer's legacy cannot be measured in numbers. 20 Grand Slams, 6 ATP Finals, 310 weeks as world number one. Those are just statistics. What truly endures is the way he made people feel. The grace in his movement, the humility in his words, the calmness in victory, and the dignity in defeat. He showed us that true greatness has nothing to prove. It simply is. He changed the definition of success. Federer taught us that mastery isn't just about domination, but about evolution, about staying curious, patient, and kind in a world that demands constant speed. He showed that you can compete fiercely without losing your humanity, that strength and gentleness can coexist. Off the court, his influence only grew stronger. Through his foundation, Federer brought education and hope to thousands of children around the world. His generosity and quiet leadership inspired athletes beyond tennis, because he reminded everyone that the mark of a champion isn't what you take from the world, but what you give back. And so, the man who once played like time didn't exist now becomes timeless himself. His elegance will live on in the memories of every fan who ever held their breath, watching him glide across the grass of Wimbledon. His sportsmanship will echo in every handshake at the net. His story will continue to inspire every dreamer who picks up a racket and believes that beauty, humility, and excellence can live together. Roger Federer didn't just play tennis. He elevated it, and long after his final match, his spirit will remain. A reminder that greatness is not about how high you climb, but how gracefully you stand when it's time to say goodbye. Closing narration. As the lights dim and the echoes of applause fade, one truth remains. Legends never really leave us. Roger Federer's legacy isn't confined to trophies or highlights. It lives in the quiet inspiration he left behind. Every time a young player steps onto the court with respect, with passion, with love for the game, Federer is there. Because greatness is not about perfection. It's about purpose. And Roger Federer's purpose was never just to win. It was to remind the world that even in the fiercest battles, there is room for grace. His story will be told for generations, not as a tale of records, but as a testament to elegance, humility, and the timeless power of believing in something beautiful.